I'm Joan. I'm also known as Helen. I got to change my name to Joan as a result of my creative journey, which started around 2017, 18. And this is at the back of so many tragedies or kind of that have occurred in my life. I made redundant from my job. A few years afterwards, I studied up to a PhD, did my Vival, was rejected. My marriage also broke down, and I was left with a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old to raise up. For me, at that point, life was like everything was falling down between my fingers like grains of sand, and I was really broken. I remember the first song I wrote then, because I write poetry before then, and I've started writing novels. The journey was, after my counseling session, I decided to start putting down my thoughts in words, and with that, I started writing the novels and writing the story of my life in the form of a storybook, and which is She Smiled. I published She Smiled 1 and 2, but all the characters are made up events and some of them are real events, but it was me, it was a therapeutic journey for me to talk about what has happened to me. And at some point, I started dabbling back into poetry, and the first poem I wrote was Wounded Soldier. Actually, I misplaced that because that would have been my first song, and because I felt like after my marriage broke down, I was now wounded. I was not expected as a Christian in quote to have a failed marriage, and I did have a failed marriage, and I felt at loss that I've messed up the battlefield, that kind of thing. Along the way, I got to write Little Bird, this poem, in 2017, and afterwards I started writing other poems, putting them in lyrics form. You can start by flapping your wings, gain speed and fly.
Hi, I'm Ezra Cole. Here in Scotland with my wife, Twinkle, and my 2 lovely kids, Joseph and Beatrice. And yeah, my wife and I, we love the arts. We've got a passion for the arts because my wife, she's a professional dancer. I'm a musician. I'm first and foremost a worship leader and a singer-songwriter. But at the same time, I enjoy producing, mixing and mastering. Very blessed to be mentored by a really good mix and master engineer back in Singapore, Jerry Tan. I will have to say his name because he's an amazing guy. And you know, the arts speaks a lot about the creativity of God, you know, and because God created the earth, therefore He is a creative God, and we are created in His image, and therefore every one of us are creative. So using the arts is a form of expression to worship God, to bring the gospel to people who have not heard about the gospel.
Hope was lost, gain hope and fly. Thought catching up was not inside. See the vision and
we want to speak the generation. Generation keeps changing, social media keeps changing, and to speak the generation is to use the arts, whether is it classic arts, whether is it modern contemporary. We use arts to speak the language of the generation, to speak the gospel through music, through the lyrics, and through dance, through painting, because art is a very powerful tool. I met Helen Joan in a conference, and it was just, I would use the word, it's a divine appointment, because it really is. You know, as Christians, we believe that nothing happens by chance. Therefore, it is a divine appointment. And when I met Helen Joan, I think everything just kicked it off well with our conversation, and we have we realized both of us, we've got that heart for worship, for bringing the gospel through music and worship. And we did a project at the Meadows. She led worship together as we shared the gospel through the lyrics of contemporary Christian music, together with other worship leaders as well, Samuel Freeman. And
years went afterwards. I just packed it aside until I lost my dad, spiritual dad, 5 years ago now. And while I was praying that God should not take him home, I started writing another poem, and that was Child. And that was how I came up with Child. That's the first single I actually released with Ezra. I've already done most of the work, but he brought it back to the studio to remix, and I was able to release it last year.
When Joan told me about her music, I thought, wow, I'm intrigued and I'm excited about the tune and the melody that she sent to me with this song, A Little Bird. It's something out of my comfort zone, something out of my element, but I was happy to take up the challenge. It was difficult, but it was a long process, of course. And with this song, Little Bird, something that's out of my element, and I struggled to put it together initially, but thank God, working with session musicians back in Singapore, I had to call my friend who are pitch perfect, and he wrote down the notes, everything, and the chords. He wrote it down for me, sent it to me, and when I look at it, it's like, whoa, okay, I can't play it. And thank God, I've got a good friend, Macaulay Locke. He's a really good guitarist, classical guitarist. So he came in and he played, and whatever you be hearing in the music, that's his hard work. And it's hard work, but he did it with ease. It looks simple for him. And when the whole music came together, we put in different elements and we try out different strings, different tune, different melody, and it came together nicely. Of course, with a lot of back and forth, but it turned out well. And it's a different way of creative process, but it is still part of the whole process of producing music, and it's something I really enjoy a lot, working with Helen Joan.
And so at the back of that, I said, oh, yes, I have another poem, Little Bird. And I sent it to him. And it was an ambitious project anyway, because I didn't want to use the sound that was there. I wanted him to kind of make it his own and create something, new out of it. So it was a journey from October last year precisely to October this year. And in the thick and the turns, in the back and the coming, we had a lot of revision to do. By the time we put the cello, I felt the cello was a bit too high. I got a lot of review from my friends who were musicians, which helped us along the journey. And the conga came in beautifully, that changed the whole rhythm of the song. And at the last point, I felt, okay, one of my friends says, why don't we add another string instrument? I just spoke to my little girl, Jed, and I said, Jed, are you interested in doing this? That's what I said. And so I brought her to Ezra's studio. It was amazing. At the first time, she just played the melody easily. I just thank God for the creativity that He has given through art. I'm grateful to God because Little Bird is a song that is birthed out of pain, of a situation that is wounded. And I'm speaking to as many people that have gone through situations and they are wounded, their lives feel shattered, they have no hope. The song is directed to as a healing song to say, look, you can swing up, you can rise up again, you can, at the back of every situation. As a testimony, at the back of that situation of the loss of a PhD, I've written about 24 books right now. And at the back of that, I've written several poems that are going to be songs. I've generated other means of creating my pain into healing process to heal others, because the scripture says that whatever comfort He comforts us is for others. And so through the process, I've learned that God has been with me and He has been the strength. He said He will never leave us nor forsake us. We should never listen to the voice of the enemy that says, oh, because all these things have happened, especially when something is your fault and you feel, okay, I've messed up and then I'm walking away from God. This is to remind you that as every little bird can be healed, possibly by the strength that comes from within, and they can fly back, you out there can also arise. Flap your wings. No matter how terrible it is, you can still rise and you can still fly. And that's why, Little Bird, enjoy the song, let it heal you, and move forward in life. See the vision and
Being a professional mix and master engineer, one of my passion is also to support Christian artists here, in whether it's to produce, mix, or master their music, arrangements. Yes, and that's one of the key purpose of this ministry as well.
Little Bird, hope and help, gain strength, renew your power, lift up your wings and fly towards the sun. No more weariness. Expect, look, hope, and fly.
I want to thank Ezra, and I want to use this opportunity to actually promote and thank Ezra's music for what they've done in the last two singles I've done. He's a very wonderful guy, very helpful, he's very patient, but every time I come back, he's still ready to help and to get the music to the best point. Thank you, Ezra. Thank you, Macaulay, for putting all the beats and all the beautiful guitar into it. Jedidah, thank you so much for being who you are, my little bird, my little J. So I really thank God, and thank Jeremy too along the journey, who was being supportive in criticizing everything about the song. Sometimes the criticism is bad, I'm like, oh gosh, but it all brought the music alive. So thank you so much. Twinkle, I can't forget you. Thank you so much for supporting Ezra. The kids, I really appreciate you for all the time you supported us along the journey. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next single.
Fly, fly.